made you go no contact with your parents? My parents sabotaged my first real job interview by calling my boss and saying I was unstable, just so they could keep me under their thumb. When I confronted them, they looked at me like I was crazy and said, "We were just protecting you." I walked out of their house and haven't spoken to them since. That was 8 months ago. This morning, they were banging on my apartment door, begging me to talk, while my roommate recorded the whole thing on her phone. I was 10 when I first realized my parents weren't like other parents. Most kids got grounded for sneaking cookies or forgetting homework, but I got grounded for dreaming too big. I'd tell mom about wanting to be a graphic designer, and she'd laugh, not a kind laugh, but one that made my stomach twist. "You're not cut out for that, Emma. Stick to something practical." Dad was worse. He'd sit me down with this serious look and lecture me about how the world chews up dreamers and spits them out. I learned early to keep my ideas to myself. By high school, I was sneaking art classes at the community center, hiding my sketchbooks in my jewelry box like they were contraband. Mom found one once and tore it up in front of me, saying it was a waste of time. I cried myself to sleep that night, but the next day, I started a new one. I guess that was my first act of rebellion. Fast forward to 22, I just graduated with a degree in graphic design, fought tooth and nail for every scholarship to pay for it myself because my parents refused to help unless I switched to accounting. I was living at home, saving up to move out, when I landed an interview with a small design firm, my dream job. I spent weeks preparing my portfolio, staying up late perfecting every pixel. I was so nervous I could barely eat, but also so excited I could feel my future opening up. The morning of the interview, I was putting on my best dress when Mom called me downstairs. "Emma, we need to talk," she said, her voice all soft and concerned. Dad was there too, arms crossed, looking like he was about to deliver a verdict. "We think you're rushing into this job thing," Mom said. "You're not ready for that kind of pressure." I tried to argue, but Dad cut me off. "You're not stable enough for a job like that, daughter." I didn't know what they meant by stable. I'd never had mental health issues, never even seen a therapist, but they kept talking like I was one bad day away from a breakdown. I left for the interview anyway, shaken but determined. The interview started great. The hiring manager, Sarah, was impressed with my portfolio, said I had real talent. Then her phone rang. She excused herself to take the call, and when she came back, her whole demeanor had changed. She started asking weird questions about my emotional stability, if I'd ever had episodes. I was completely blindsided. I stammered through some answers, but I could tell I'd lost her. She ended the interview early, promising to be in touch, but her tone said it all. I didn't get the job. I drove home in a daze, replaying every moment, trying to figure out what went wrong. When I walked in, Mom was in the kitchen chopping vegetables like nothing happened. Dad was watching TV. "Did you get it?" Mom asked, all casual. I shook my head, unable to speak. "Oh, honey," she said with this fake sympathy. "Maybe it's for the best." I went to my room and sat on my bed, staring at my portfolio, feeling like my whole world had collapsed. A week later, I got an email from Sarah, the hiring manager. She apologized for the abrupt end to the interview and explained why. "Your parents called me before your interview," she wrote. "They said you had a history of mental instability and shouldn't be in a high-pressure job. I hope you understand I had to prioritize the company's needs." My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. They did what? I reread the email a dozen times, hoping I'd misunderstood, but there it was in black and white. My own parents had sabotaged my dream. I stormed downstairs where Mom was folding laundry and Dad was reading the paper. "Why did you call my interviewer?" I demanded, my voice louder than I meant. Mom froze, a shirt half folded in her hands. Dad looked up, all calm. "What are you talking about, daughter?" "You called Sarah at the design firm, told her I was unstable." I could feel my face getting hot. "You ruined my shot." Mom's eyes darted to Dad, then back to me. "We were just protecting you, Emma," she said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "You're not ready for that kind of job. You don't know what's best for you." "Protecting me?" I shouted. "You lied about me, made me look like a nutcase." Dad stood up now, his voice sharp. "Watch your tone. We've seen how you get when you're stressed. You think you can handle a job like that, but you can't." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were talking about me like I was some fragile kid, not a grown woman who just graduated college. I looked at them, really looked at them, and saw something I'd never noticed before. They weren't just controlling, they were scared. Scared I'd leave them behind, succeed where they hadn't.